Welcome to episode 1 of Bullpen Talk with me and Ethan. We're going to talk about some MLB stuff today. His audio cut out at the beginning, so I'm going to do this intro real quick. Hope you all enjoy, and comment down below what you think.
So I'm going to go ahead and give it off to Lucas. Lucas, definitely explain to the viewers on YouTube and or Anchor about what we're going to be doing on this podcast, why we started it, and when you could possibly see another episode.
Okay, so I'm super excited to start this. We kind of talked about this. I think you brought it up during the summer, and then we kind of forgot about it, and then we got back to it here today. So why we're doing this? It's super exciting. We're both huge baseball fans. Ethan's a Cubs fan. I'm an Indians fan, and I'm super excited to start this. We're just going to talk about different baseball topics, maybe some other interesting topics too. And so, yeah. Really excited for this.
All right, that sounds great. So welcome all of y'all to this podcast, and I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with the first question. A pretty hot one. Have you forgiven the Houston Astros on the cheating scandal? I know Lucas with the Cleveland Indians. He was affected. His team was affected personally. My team's in the National League, so I really didn't have any qualms about that. But Lucas, go ahead and tell me: have you forgiven the Astros? And has that thought in MLB been put on the back burner? I feel like you don't hear much out of it anymore.
You don't. I personally have not forgiven certain players at the Astros. Certain players I have forgiven, like George Springer. He had a good season this year, so I'm like, okay, maybe he wasn't affected as much by the banging of the trash can. But then you see Correa and Altuve and Bregman all have really down seasons, so that makes me think to myself, were they only good because of that trash can? Because Jose Altuve won the MVP in 2017, which is when all this took place. And Aaron Judge, now that all the trash can stuff has come out, Aaron Judge should have won that MVP. He did so great that season, and it got stolen by Altuve. So personally, I have forgiven George Springer. The rest, no, I just cannot forgive them for all the players' careers that they ruined.
I definitely get that. Me personally, for all the people at home, I have forgiven the Astros. I've forgiven definitely the manager, AJ Hinch. I feel like he's a great manager, a great guy in baseball. He went to the Tigers. I feel like he's going to help that young core over there. If you look at it, and you have to look at the bottom line, they're all good players. Cheating scandal or not, they were all drafted. They were all made it to the majors. Now, from the cheating scandal 2017, 2018, I can't tell if that was really their true talent, but they're definitely good enough to be drafted and make it to the majors. So, Lucas, definitely, his team was personally affected by it. So, me personally, I forget.
2018 playoffs. Ugh.
All right. So,
good team that year, too.
We'll go ahead and go on to the second question there, the sticky stuff. We've heard Trevor Bauer talk about the sticky stuff in some of his vlogs, and there's a channel called Baseball Doesn't Exist. I don't know if Lucas watches it, but he made a really good video about it. And I want to hear Lucas's opinion on this.
I feel like it's fair for pitchers to use, but I'm not sure. I don't know. It just feels like it's like the Astros scandal because it has Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander in it.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think MLB makes it fine is they have allowed it all throughout. Like, no doubt they have heard about it. And you saw last year Garrett Cole touching his hat and his finger sticking to it. So I just think it's okay because MLB is not doing anything about it, and they're not really using any technology like the Houston Astros did.
We saw the RPM levels go up on many of the pitchers in those years. But my personal opinion on this, MLB either needs to go – there's two ways they could go with this. Either A, allow it and let all pitchers use it. But then I feel like at the same time, you need to let batters pine tar past the bat logo. I feel like you need to let the stuff from the batters too. You're going to let the pitchers take that. So either MLB can allow it and let all of it through, or stop it all together and make sure no one uses it. Either way is fine with me. So MLB really just needs to make a hard push on that.
I like that idea. Not sure Manfred will do much about it, but
I don't know.
You never know.
I don't know. I am so up in the air with him. I don't hate him, but I don't like him at the same time. What's your opinion?
I used to like Manfred, but once he talked about how the piece of metal last spring training, when he said that, I'm like, he just offended every single Major League Baseball player because they work hard from February to October working for that piece of metal, and that just made me mad. Like, you're the commissioner, you should understand that that's the thing that everybody
That
wants in
that's
your
the one
league.
big thing that I could care less about any of his baseball politics. But me personally, yeah, you don't call the commissioner's trophy if it's just a piece of metal. That's my big thing with him. That's about it. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the next one. We got marketing. This is a huge place where Manfred needs to step in and players
Mm-hmm.
need to step in. How do we get baseball back to where it was at one time? One of the things that I like to point out is the NFL. They were doing their games on Nickelodeon, and during the touchdowns, like the green slime would come down on the field. You'd have like different characters like SpongeBob and stuff on the NFL games, and I feel like that's what MLB needs to do with that. I feel like that's a great idea from NFL. So I want to hear what you think about Trevor Bauer, Jared Kelenic, Hunter Pence, and all those people marketing the game of baseball.
So for me, I see the NFL doing Nickelodeon, and MLB does like a kids show every Saturday at like 10 a.m. called Play Ball. You were on that when you were the
Yep,
Play
that
Ball
was my big.
reporter in 2019. Hmm. And then I really liked what they do with that. But if because not many kids are on MLB
Yep.
Network, but like if they could get that to like Disney Channel or put it on Nickelodeon or something Disney related, Disney Plus maybe, ESPN Plus, I don't know. If they could just get that more on the kids' channels, then they could expand the game more. Because you got Tatis, who is so marketable, such a fun player to watch. Mike Trout, one of the greatest of all time. They could do so much with the game. Francisco Lindor, Trevor Bauer. Like, Trevor Bauer is trying to get the game better. His YouTube channel is working out great. Like, I wish MLB would do more, and I think they're starting to see that they should do more. So I feel like the one thing they could do, like to get younger kids into the game more, is to put it on like a kids channel, say Disney or
So I
Nickelodeon.
love that idea. So don't change anything. Take the Play Ball show and put it on Disney Plus. I feel like they could do that. I feel like MLB Network can make a deal with Disney Plus to have that show on there. That's a great. That's actually better than my idea.
What's your idea?
Mine was the Nickelodeon thing. Just do the
Yeah.
have like the animation. But
Mm-hmm.
I love the Play Ball show being on Disney Plus. That should have been. They definitely need to hop on that train. So we only got about 3 more questions. This is the halfway mark of the video. So if you guys have been watching this far, thank you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and hit a subject that's probably very close to home with Lucas, the DH. I want to hear what
I
Lucas
love the DH.
in the ALDH. So NLDH was 2020 season. That was one of the rules for the shortened season. So what do you think about them not bringing the NLDH back?
I think it just makes the American League teams more better than all the National League teams because in a National League game, when the National League is home against an American League team or just National League, you have an automatic, say, 3 to 6 outs every game. And this also has to do with viewership. That's boring because who wants to see a
Yep.
pitcher bat? Like, you want to see the bat flips, you want to see home runs, you want to see far
Clinics.
home runs. But then you just have pitchers
Only one
batting. And they bunt
Bartolo
most of the time.
Colon. That's
Oh, that won't happen anymore. Which that was one of the greatest moments in MLB history, I will say. But I just feel like American League has the advantage with the DH.
so my personal opinion on this. I've got a really weird ideology when it comes to baseball. Obviously I'm a youth, so I like the marketing. Like I like some like the new age. I love bat flips. Like I love people branding, making their own brands.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. But at the same time, my personal team is the Cubs. And so I'm a huge National League fan. National League was the first league of baseball. It goes back to the heritage, it goes back to the roots of America. Baseball has been evolving with America since the Civil War, actually. I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things I really like. I do like the DH, or not that I do not like the DH. I think pitchers should bat. And Pete Rose said something funny. He said that he played in the real Major League Baseball, where when you played in the National League, you had to own a glove. I feel like pitchers should bat, in my opinion. I just like that old style that pitchers should bat. But I also see where the other side's coming from. I'd rather see J.D. Martinez hit a home run than Kyle Hendricks get up there and try to bat. You know.
Well, it also affects free agency because you see Nelson Cruz not signing until we figure out that there's not going to be a DH.
And you have Marcelo
and
on about half of his teams that he could potentially go to.
Yeah, which makes me think with the Braves signing him back in like January, I think, that they're expecting there will be a universal DH next year.
Yes, that was interesting. So this may be the last year that you see the National League not have a DH. So that will be very interesting to see next year. And of course, the CBA is up after this year, which is.
Oh, I don't. That makes me scared.
Questions, but this is a very serious topic, and I want to get your opinion.
Yeah.
We talked about this personally. We texted about this. The strike. I feel like a strike is coming. It's going to be 19.
Oh yeah.
All over again.
Oh yeah.
CBA is up, and I feel if the strike does happen, this will ruin baseball forever. Where MLB's already having marketing problems, we can't get the game to the youth, and if they strike, MLB will fall down and never come back to where it was at one point. So MLB and the Players Association has to get together and fix this so there's no strike. Let me get your opinion on this.
They have to figure out something because once you lose the season for 2022, it's about done. Because then you have another. Because MLB last year, 2020 summer, you had the chance to be the first sport back, front and center in America, before NASCAR, before the NBA ever got back. But no, you get back a week before the NBA gets back, which isn't going to help your game at all. And I just think they could have done way better. They could have got started in May, and have had at least 2 months before anyone else.
And so the strike, I do want to hear what you think the strike. What are the consequences that MLB will have if a strike does happen?
You're going to lose so many fans, so much viewership. And, well, the only thing that got MLB back to where they somewhat are now is the Mark McGwire-Sammy Sosa home run battle. But now we know that they both took PEDs. But that's what got baseball back. And you can't really do that. You can't take PEDs anymore and get buffed up and have a big 50 plus 70 home run battle. So I just think you need to get this CBA done and not miss one game of that 162 game season next year.
Totally agree on that. But I need to save some of these topics for the next episode. But now I got to get a real quick, 20-second thing on PEDs for you. Is Barry Bonds the Hall of Famer? Rachel Luba says he is, and Trevor Bauer. It's starting to be one day. I think all these steroid people will get in. But give me a quick opinion on this steroids.
Barry Bonds is a Hall of Famer. It was part of the game back in the early 1990s, late 1990s, early 2000s. It was part of the game. And MLB never enforced that it was bad until the early 2000s.
Definitely, Bud Selig turned definitely a blind eye, but you kind of have to. People blame Bud Selig, but I really don't. You have to turn a blind eye. That was the only way baseball was going to come back after the strike with the home run race. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Spring training. So I'm going to go ahead and let you do the question for us, and let me go ahead and hear your opinion on that. So the spring training question.
So for spring training, I'm going to talk about what I want to see for the Cleveland Indians, some topics I want to see the Indians work on, and what questions for the Indians I want to have answered during spring training. And for you, the same for you about the Cubs. So we'll have you go first. What do you want to see with the Cubs in the 2021 spring training?
This is definitely the last year of Bryant, Baez, Rizzo. So this is going to be the last year, the big core, the big... Unfortunately, Schwarber is gone. I was not a huge fan of Schwarber at all. We replaced him with Jock Peterson, but I feel like Jock Peterson
That was a good signing.
better than Schwarber, 10 times better than Schwarber. So some of the things I'd like to see, I'd like to see Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo have a huge bounce back season. Bryant's been in a slump since 18. He was a 2019 All-Star. He did bat 280, but it just still wasn't that MVP Bryant that we can see. So I want to see a huge bounce back season from Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo. They're all coming into a contract year, so hopefully that will give a little boost to them. I want to see the starting rotation. I want to see how this is going to work. You got Trevor Williams, Jake Arrieta's coming back. I want to see Trevor Williams to have a bounce back season. Zach Davies, Hendricks, Mills. I want to see these guys have a good season. Obviously, I want to see how Peterson does. I think he'll be great. And last, I want to see Marisnick. Marisnick, part of that cheating scandal. I want to see if he can. Jake Arrieta's coming back. I want to see Trevor Williams to have a bounce back season. Zach Davies, Hendricks, Mills. I want to see these guys have a good season. Obviously, I want to see how Peterson does. I think he'll be great. And last, I want to see Marisnick. Marisnick, part of that cheating scandal. I want to see if he can turn to the next page, leave that behind him. People are sleeping on the Cubs this year. People have got the Brewers and Cardinals in first place. In second place, I personally don't see that. The Brewers, you heard it here, folks. The Brewers and Cardinals are not better than the Chicago Cubs.
Ooh.
But that's a little bit of bias in there. I think the Cubs and Cardinals are definitely tied, but the Brewers are not better than us. So I definitely want to see Marisnick.
I can agree with that.
The starting rotation. That's about it from the Cubs. I want to see how they're going to do in the last year of contention, because after this, they will not be able to sign Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo back.
Yep, they're going to end up just like the Indians this offseason, where Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco went to the Mets. But for the Indians, I have 3 things I want them to do. We need to figure out who our 5th starter is, because other than that, our rotation is one of the best in baseball. Shane Bieber, Zach Plesac, Aaron Savale, Tristan McKenzie. If we can figure out who that 5th starter is, maybe Cal Quantrill from the Padres from the Clevenger trade, or maybe Scott Moss from the Trevor Bauer trade back in 2019. So figure out who.
Here, I think. Sorry to cut you off, but I do think.
No, it's fine.
You trade Trevor Bauer away. You trade Mike Clevenger away. You trade Carlos Carrasco, and yet the Indians still have a great rotation. Imagine how good that rotation could have been if y'all kept Clevenger, Bauer, and Carrasco. That's just crazy.
Well, the funny thing is, me and my dad were talking about this. When the Indians made the World Series in 2016, Michael Brantley did not play that whole postseason. Trevor Bauer didn't pitch in that World Series.
He had the drone act.
Mike Clevenger was a relief pitcher. Like, we weren't even using these guys in the 2016 World Series. And then my second thing, I want the Indians to answer for me, the bullpen. We lost Brad Hand for $10 million, which our ownership is something. I like the Dolans, but they don't like to spend money, it is what it is. But we lost Brad Hand to the Nationals. Our closer is most likely going to be James Karinchak. One problem I have with him is that he has trouble commanding sometimes, but when he gets on, he strikes people out. So I feel like he's going to have a bit of a rough season this year, but once he gets the use of it, he's going to be a good bullpen reliever. And my third question is the outfield. We got Eddie Rosario, former Twin. He killed the Indians at Progressive Field. He batted 350s plus. Yeah. He batted 350 plus in Progressive Field against the Indians, which is like, if he can do that this season, he's going to be a top free agent for next offseason since we signed him to a 1-year contract. But Franmil Reyes is probably going to be our DH. He won't be playing the outfield. Oscar Mercado, who had a rough 2020 season, but he finished in the top 10 in the 2019 AL Rookie of the Year voting. So I think he'll be back to 2019 form. And then right field, we got Josh Naylor, who killed it during the postseason against the Yankees.
All right. Thank you for sharing there. So we're wrapping up about 21 minutes. We went a little over than we were trying to do. So definitely want to thank y'all for coming for our first show.
Yes.
We're definitely try to do this weekly. We went over 20 minutes. We're definitely going to try to make sure and keep them under 20. We have so much stuff to talk about. We could talk for hours and hours about baseball. This is just episode 1. You should see our next episode sometime next week. And let's see. Thank you guys for watching or listening, I should say. Lots of good topics covered. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment on both of our videos. We'll both post it. And Lucas, you got any last words?
Thanks for listening, and hope you all will listen to our next podcast. Tell us what we can do different.
All right, you heard it there, folks. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See ya.